Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda, and welcome to our channel. As you know, the entire plan for the Democrats to try and pass $3.5 trillion by way of budget reconciliation is now dead in the water. Why? Because of the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, Joe Manchin. So let's get into the latest news. Here's what's happening, folks. The House Democrats now have a new plan to raise $2.9 trillion. Here's a tweet on your screen from Heather Long, who's an economics correspondent from the Washington Post. House Democrats have a new plan to raise $2.9 trillion. Number one, raise income tax on the rich to 39.6%. That's up from 37%. Raise taxes on corporations significantly as far as corporations are concerned to 26.5%, up from the current 21%. Something tells me that every single viewer of Ignition Time actually pays more than the corporations do. Also, what the House Democrats want is to raise capital gains to 25%, up from 20%, and charge a surtax, an additional tax on people making $5 million a year. This is explained in new detail in this article on your screen from the Washington Post. House Democrats circulate a new tax plan as the party is trying to seek unity on the key economic package. Actually, many Democrats are actually sparring with each other, but the House Democrats have tried to reach a consensus on some of these thorny issues. So, what are these Democrats doing? They are trying to come to a consensus. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to essentially be aligned. And what they want is that all these proposed tax increases should raise $2.9 trillion over 10 years, which Democrats say is achievable. Now, whether it's achievable or not, that's a completely separate question. But here's the problem. Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, basically said that he will vote against a plan that is as large as $3.5 trillion. In fact, he asked Democrats to curtail the amount, to bring it down by as much as half. And this is a big setback to Bernie Sanders, who essentially described a smaller economic package as unacceptable. Now, here's a direct quote from the Washington Post. In sorting out the disputes, Democrats face a tough political reality. They must stay united in a Congress that they only narrowly control if they hope to pass what could become the largest economic package in U.S. history. The risks are especially high in the Senate, where Democrats have only a tie-breaking majority, making Manchin's early opposition to their plans all the more potent. In fact, Joe Manchin appeared on CNN's State of the Union. He was quite busy this past weekend, and he said that his broader concern was that a tax and spending measure as large as $3.5 trillion could add to the deficit and worsen all of the problems in our country. This is on top of his Wall Street Journal article earlier this month, where he asked Democrats to pause all efforts to try and pass $3.5 trillion. In fact, here on your screen is that article from the Wall Street Journal. We will also provide you with a link to this article in the description section below. So, what exactly is going on? Manchin essentially told CNN when he was essentially asked about the timeline, because remember, Chuck Schumer said that the House was moving full speed ahead in the hopes of adopting the final measure before the end of the month. Manchin basically said that's fine, he will not have my vote on the $3.5 trillion package. And he said, Chuck knows that. This is a big setback, folks, for the Democrats. In fact, Manchin said this: I support child tax credits. Let's see how we're doing. Let's make sure we're getting it to the right people. There's no work requirements whatsoever. There's no education requirements whatsoever for better skill sets. Don't you think if you want to help the children, the people should make some effort? Wow, this is pretty significant, folks, and I can tell you that the Democrats will be struggling now to pass what they consider to be their landmark achievement. In fact, Bernie Sanders is not at all happy with Joe Manchin. He said this: no, it is absolutely not acceptable to me. I don't think it's acceptable to the president, to the American people, or to the overwhelming majority of the Democratic caucus. I believe we're all going to sit down and work together and come up with a $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, which deals with the enormously unmet needs of working families. So, where does Sanders stand with all this? That's pretty clear. Liberal lawmakers like Sanders have said that they will not back down from $3.5 trillion unless they can vote on something that is extremely comprehensive and in that range. And this is what Sanders said: it would be a really sad state of affairs for the American people, the Congress, if both of these bills went down. In the meantime, Here's a very interesting tweet from Manu Raju from CNN, who's a chief congressional correspondent for CNN. Manchin said on CNN State of the Union, when he was responding to Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, saying that he huddles weekly with Exxon and these oil companies and he allows corporate lobbyists to write bills. This is what Manchin said, I quote, "That's totally false. I don't know that young lady really well. I met her one time between sets, but that's it. She's speculating and saying things." In fact, let's roll the tape and hear Manchin say this live on CNN State of the Union. You can start to see the discord between the Democrats, not just between Joe Manchin and Bernie Sanders, but also between Joe Manchin and the powerful congresswoman from New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Let's roll the tape and see what Manchin had to say about AOC on CNN State of the Union. Let's watch.
I'm sure you have heard your fellow Democrat, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, said this about you in a tweet. Manchin has weekly huddles with Exxon and is one of many senators who gives lobbyists their pen to write so-called bipartisan fossil fuels bills. It's killing people. Sick of this bipartisan corruption that masquerades as clear-eyed moderation. This is your fellow Democrat.
Well,
is it true that you have weekly meetings with Exxon
not.
and other
absolutely
lobbyists
not.
for fossil fuel?
No, they don't. Weekly meetings, I don't.
It's just false.
I keep my door open for everybody. It's totally false. And those type of superlatives, it's just awful. Continue to divide. I don't know the young lady that well. I really don't. I've met her one time, I think, between sets here, but that's it. So we have not had any conversations. She's just speculating and saying things because she wants to.
She's not the only one. I'm sure you've heard. There are a number of your fellow Democrats who say that you're opposed to this because you're bought and paid for by corporate donors.
I'm opposed to it because it makes no sense at all. I just gave you the facts. I've said this, you're entitled to your own facts. I mean, your own opinions. You're just not entitled to create your own facts to support them. And that's exactly what they're doing. The facts I've given you is the transition's happening. Reliability. Look what happened in Texas. It was natural gas that basically shut down in Texas that caused all that horrible carnage to people. It was awful.
And folks, in characteristic fashion, AOC responded. Here's a tweet from AOC. "In Washington, I usually know my questions of power are getting somewhere when the powerful stop referring to me as Congresswoman and start referring to me as young lady instead." She also writes this. "Imagine if every time someone referred to someone as young lady, they were asked corresponded to by being addressed with their age and gender. They'd be pretty upset if one responded with the old man, right? Why this kind of weird patronizing behavior is so accepted is beyond me." Wow. Now that is a powerful response from the one and only Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Let me know whether you agree or disagree with AOC on Joe Manchin referring to her as a young lady. And more broadly, this discontent, this acrimony, this anguish, and this combativeness between the different Democrats. It's very clear that Joe Manchin is causing some problems within the Democratic Party, and we may not see the full $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I work very hard on this channel to bring you the latest news every single day and to bring you the truth wherever the truth might lead us. I work hard on this, as do my phenomenal video production team of Joseph and Jeanette. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. That is your way of rewarding me and my team for our extensive efforts every single day on this channel, 7 days a week. Yes, including weekends as well. Thank you so much. Please click the like button. Please click subscribe. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter. This right here is my Twitter feed. You'll be able to keep up with all the latest news stories on Twitter, and you'll be able to follow along in real time as well. So definitely follow us on Twitter as well. My Twitter handle is ignition_time. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.